Hello, I'm Wendy Bolton, and today I'm going to talk about the book Walk the Walk, The Number One Rule for Real Leaders by Alan Dushman. This is the fourth book by the author in a series related to leadership, and he currently lives in Atlanta and has been a consultant and lecturer on the subject of organizational change and leadership. Author qualifications include that he taught leadership at Emory University's Business School. He holds the Donald W. Reynolds Professorship of Business Journalism at the University of Nevada at Reno. He has a 22-year career as a journalist. He is the Silicon Valley correspondent for Fortune magazine. He is also the senior writer at Fast Company. He is a columnist for GQ. He is a contributing editor at Vanity Fair and New York Magazine. He's been a keynote speaker at numerous leadership conferences for organizations ranging from General Electric to National Public Radio. And Walk the Walk was selected as one of the best business books of the year by Strategy Business Magazine and the Miami Herald. The author describes the purpose of his book is to inspire leaders at all levels, and it was written for any individual who aspires to be a leader. It highlights examples of leaders who walk the walk. It shows the consequences of not walking the walk, even on seemingly minor matters, and it focuses on the importance of leading by example. One of the purposes that Mr. Dushman also acknowledges in his book is that he wants to inspire leaders at any level to learn to walk the walk, which he basically defines as leading by example. One of the most poignant examples regarding success stories that he illustrates in the book is that of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He practices a rule that the author finds very important, the rule of 1 or 2, meaning you list the virtues you find important first and second, and then you always stick to those. The virtues that Jeff Bezos of Amazon followed when he began his company was to always put customers first, and then second, to put them first over the long term. In doing so, throughout the years, he led by example, and he never varied from these 2 rules. He was consistent, and he built a profitable company over the long term. He walked the walk and led by example, and in doing so, by 2008, Amazon had more than 18,000 employees, and its stock market value was well over $31 million. Mr. Dushman also highlights the example of not leading by example and not walking the walk. One of the best examples he lists in this book, and there are numerous, but one of the best that I felt stated his point well, was the mixed message that Al Gore sent regarding his message on global warming. And although he's one of the most respected leaders in this area, and he's held many speeches across the globe discussing the problems with global warming, he always refused to move out of his 11,000 square foot home. And so he gave a very mixed message to his followers. In other words, he did not walk the walk. He did not lead by example. And this is one of the author's points, that it was difficult for those in his following to take him seriously because of that. The target audience for this book would be defined as any individual who values the importance of leadership. And that is stated in the book, and it's also very apparent when you read through the book. One of the best examples of leaders who walk the walk, in my opinion, and is one that Mr. Dushman provides in his book, is the example of Martin Luther King Jr., who always led by example and never varied from his number one goal, which was to change without violence. The strengths of this book, the first, I think, is that it's very concise and easy to read. It's 182 pages. It illustrates examples of successful leaders throughout, so it's easy to identify with some of the more successful leaders in the book and find something that you can relate to your own personal experience. It highlights chapters of the book in the back and notes section, so it's a quick reference if you want to go through and find certain aspects of leadership and find any notes that might help define those areas. And then it also, I felt it to be a very inspirational book. It inspires enthusiasm in the reader. Shortcomings, it's somewhat repetitive at times. It uses some of the same examples and it reviews or is repetitive on certain ideas. It is somewhat politically biased on the part of the author, which may turn readers off if they have a certain political tendency. It discusses, for example, the leadership of President Obama very early in his presidency, which may be unfair to some people may find that unfair. And also it's the example of criticizing Al Gore. So although I agree with the assessment of both of these individuals, others may find it somewhat offensive and miss the overall message. The objectives were all met. It defines leaders who walk the walk. It inspires the reader to lead by example. It demonstrates the importance of morality. It challenges the reader to fulfill potential, and it portrays the evidence of failed leadership. Recommendations, I would definitely recommend this book for the following reasons. First of all, I found it very inspirational as far as leadership goes. I would recommend it to any student enrolled in leadership management programs, individuals who seek to increase their knowledge base regarding leadership, and individuals teaching leadership or who serve as mentors to others.